Welcome back to Another Triathlon Podcast brought to you by MNA Apparel. We're back, as always, to break down what's going on in the triathlon world here as things are absolutely heating up again as those final few slots for Kona and 70.3 Worlds are going out. So we're going to catch up on what's gone on what happened this past weekend and look ahead to Ironman Frankfurt next weekend. But first, going to catch up with Josh and see, Josh, what's going on in your world?
Same old, same old. Finally, it actually took some time off between my race last weekend. We recorded. I actually ended up taking 4 full days off, I think. So I had like one scheduled day and just felt like the body needed some recovery, knowing that I had some races still to go. And ended up taking the first 4 days of last week off completely, got back at it a little bit on Friday. Woke up Friday morning with my lowest resting heart rate ever. I'm like, all right, I need to train today. So we were good to go. At the same time, I had a friend who I had raced with before, who lives like a couple towns over from me, had reached out. He said, good luck at your 10K this weekend. I'll be there cheering for you. Love this. And he had heard it. He's like, yeah, listen to the podcast this week. He told me that you're doing this 10K coming up. So his girlfriend was he was going to be there. And he's like, I was like, well, why aren't you? And he's like, well, I'm doing this run race on Saturday in the same lake that I would do that May sprint triathlon that I used to do. And I was like, well, I probably should get some open water swimming. So it was a cancer fundraiser with a 1 mile swim, and you could do the 1 mile swim. You could do a 5K run or a 10K run afterwards and a walk, and all for a good cause. And hopped in. One of my athletes came with me, and we both did a 1 mile swim race and finished third in my age group or something like that, out of probably like 6 or 7, who knows. But had a much better swim than I did in Happy Valley, and felt good the whole way. And it was nice to just get out and practice and do that. So did that Saturday morning, and then what did I do? And then I did some activations for the run, and then I had my 10K on Sunday, and I was like, I'm not really racing this, but I'm going. It's a community event. There's 10,000 people doing this race in Boston. It's got a professional field, and just want to be a part of it. And had said to my coach, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to even bring the carbons. Like, we're good. And then I was like, wait, one of my athletes is running this. He's treating it as an A race. He wants a 10K PR. I can handle that pace. So we're going to bring the carbons, and I'm going to pace him to his 10K PR, and almost lost him. I went out a little too hot early after we navigated the crowds early on. And then he said to me with about a half a mile to go that his chest was getting tight. He had looked at his watch and thought his heart rate was jacked. And we came to find out it was his cadence he was looking at and not his heart rate.
Oh, jeez.
And he's like, yeah, my heart rate's in the 180s. And then after the race, I looked at his training peaks, and his max heart rate was 173. I was like, dude, you must have been looking at your cadence, because his average cadence was like 182.
Oh, my goodness.
But with a half a mile to go in a hard 10K, you're like pretty jacked up. And I thought he had kind of pulled off to the side. He's like, keep going. I was like, I slowed down to a little bit of a jog, hoping he would latch back on, and didn't hear him. Looked back, thought I saw him, wasn't sure. Turned the corner to the finish line, and I get a tap on the shoulder, like, let's go. And he goes flying by me, caught up, and got his PR by 5 minutes or whatever. So it was a really cool moment as a coach, and pacing someone again to another successful race. And wow, it was a reminder too, like, I literally talked to him the whole race and was giving him strategy tips on like why I do certain things, and cutting corners and tangents and catching the shade whenever you could on a day like that. And then I get to the end, I was like, even though my heart rate was up a little bit, I was able to talk comfortably. Like, we talk about going for a run and being able to have a conversation, and I was legit at conversational pace the whole race. And I was like, that's not bad. Like, I'm in a good fitness spot now. Like, even though the Happy Valley run didn't go as well as I wanted, I was like, I'm in a pretty good spot right now. And that felt good, and always feels good to be out there with your athletes and racing with them and doing that, and seeing a whole bunch of other people from community. And then, and now I am back at it. And then I was so amped up. It was Father's Day. He's a father. We were celebrating that. Got home. My wife took a little bit of a nap. She's like, do whatever you want. Like, just let me know. We'll do whatever. And I was like, you know what? There's that KOM down the street that I haven't gotten, and it's in my neighborhood I grew up in, and it's 1 mile. I was like, I could go do a 35-minute spin on the bike right now, and that'll be a good little like flush of the legs plus a little warm up for my sprint triathlon coming up this weekend. And sure enough, and got my first KOM, and that guy got an email saying he lost his top spot, and took that home, and yeah, it felt good. And even then, it was like looking at I could go lower than that. It felt good coming off of a long week, and yeah, now I'm into sprint triathlon training, tapering in the same time, and looking at results from the years past, and like what can I do to get a little faster and get closer to that 1 hour mark, and maybe get on the overall podium and maybe win my age group. So that's the week I've had, and it's been a crazy busy week at work, and yeah, just balancing it all. I'm off to Boston after this and gonna go do a ambassador program thing with Hoka and Marathon Sports. So yeah, just staying busy, and then it's truly into Berlin and Nice training and all of that. So looking forward to really building the volume up again because the base is there.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, those the QOM emails I get in there are the worst because I lived and trained in a bunch of different places. So it's like, oh, your Queen of the Mountain in Scotland is gone. It's like, oh, I don't have a
Exactly.
chance to go do it anymore.
This one is
So
literally 2 miles from my house. So if he wants to go get it again, I'm ready to go.
yeah, there we go. Chase it down. Oh, that's awesome. Sounds like you're having some fun there. And that's always good when you can just participate with your athletes and be able to do that hands-on coaching. That makes a big difference. That's what I love so much about the MNA camps and stuff is to be able to be there in person and actually make those in the moment adjustments instead of trying to look at video for analysis or glean information from Training Peaks. It's so cool when you get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, that's 2 weekends in a row too. So that's been really special to get out there with them. And now I won't have that opportunity to do it much leading into their big races. So I had to take all that chance to that opportunity to get out there with them. And yeah, it's a huge confidence booster for yourself too, like to go out there and know that the coaching you're doing and you're literally watching it, and then also pushing them over the limits that they think they have. Like I said, he thought his heart rate was jacked. I was like, but you don't feel it. You don't look like it. Like you look like you can still go. And he's somebody who, when I would look at like his bike files, I'm like, you're doing a zone 3 ride on a Peloton bike, cross training for your running, but your zone 3 ride, you're at like 120 heart rate. Like that should not, like you should not be at 120 if you're in your true zone. So made him take an FTP test, and we've slowly been building up like, no, you should be working on the bike. Like your heart rate needs to be higher, and just getting comfortable with that. And that stuff that like, when you get to see it firsthand, that's the affirmation that you need. And even if he went out and did that race without me that day, he's probably coming close to his PR, but there's no way he's running that type of a finish and pushing himself over the limits. And he straight up said that to me. He's like, that's the difference like I needed right there. And that's huge going into a marathon block for him. So yeah, I know you've had the opportunity to do it a lot. So it was really neat to get out there and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And interestingly, if you are setting up your own zones for training in there, one thing to always note is sometimes people get confused because they'll go do a run threshold test and find out their run heart rate. The biggest mistake I see people do is use their run threshold heart rate for the bike.
Right.
Because on the bike, you're kind of locked into place. It's typically around 10 beats lower on the bike because you don't have all those stabilizer muscles, the pounding and stuff. So that's something I've always found kind of interesting, but I see it so many times. I'm like, okay, we have to get you bike zones or else you're going to destroy yourself trying to reach your run heart rate
If
zones.
you're trying to get to like 180 heart rate on the bike, yeah, good luck running off the bike. If you get to the
Definitely. Yeah. But speaking of the coaching stuff, actually, be sure to tune in next week. We have a very exciting announcement coming for what is currently MNA Coaching. We've got some very cool, just some very exciting stuff coming up. So definitely come back next week and find out what that announcement is. I am so excited to release this. It's been in the works for 6 months, so I cannot wait to put it out there. And yeah, so stay tuned for that. Check out the social medias. Right now it's at MNA Coaching and see what it's all about. For me in the training world, kind of mixing up with doing some more strength training these days and spending a little bit more time on my motorcycle and my bicycle at times. I can't remember if I mentioned it on here or not, but yeah, I picked up a Gixxer 750, a super sport motorcycle. So it's been balancing out my weekends between riding on two wheels with an engine and without an engine, which has definitely been fun. But I probably should have spent more time on my bicycle because I'm headed out of town this weekend. And
Mm.
a certain Tour de France winner is bringing his bike brand to Canada. So I'm headed over to Montreal to go check that out and catch up with Alberto Contador. So if there are some bike rides, I might be suffering a little bit next weekend. Should have spent more time on the bicycle than the motorcycle.
Yeah, for sure. When is so like that'll be a good little test for you for sure as you get into your duathlon training. What is the qualifying race that you would need to get into Worlds?
Yeah, so the first one's coming up in 2 weeks. Going to might have some challenges with getting to that now. Gonna see how it goes, but I've got a couple backup races and then one in September, worst case scenario. So hopefully get to the one in 2 weeks. There's nothing local to me that's qualifying. So I either have to travel to BC or Saskatchewan to do it. So either way is kind of a weekend way to get it done. So figuring that out, but yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to pick up a qualifying spot there because it's duathlon is still it's so brutally painful that a lot of people shy away from it because man, riding hard after a hard run is just one of the worst feelings in the world, but that makes it more fun. But looking ahead, we had some racing going on this weekend, and luckily it was all triathlons. Nothing got shortened into a duathlon, no water quality issues, which we always love to see. But let's kick it off with the Ironman 70.3 in Elsinore. So this was part of the Pro Series this year, and we're seeing the races are getting a little softer as we go to this part of the season because we have the Frankfurts coming up, the Challenger Roth coming up. We had a lot of people did their races earlier, but we still saw some great racing this weekend. And a few more people picked up those Kona spots, or not Kona, 70.3 world spots that we were talking how surprised we were last weekend that they didn't already have these spots. Let's kick it off with the men's race. But first, Josh, did you get a chance to watch this one?
I did watch the highlights. Again, I did not get to watch the full race just based on the timing of it. I think I got when I woke up, it was the Martin had probably just finished and the women's race was still going on. So Kat was on the run course. But yeah, I did not get to watch it just based on timing and haven't gone back and watched it because it again, like you said, the race itself, we kind of knew how it was going to play out, and both the men and females race played out the way we thought. Unfortunately, we got another DNF from Kyle Smith, which is a bummer. I thought this would be the
Yeah.
race that he would get warm on too. So not sure exactly what happened, but I know he didn't finish the run and got off the bike in a pretty good time. He had a 2:03 bike, but on that day, a 2:03 bike was about 5 minutes back.
Yeah, so how about I'll give a bit of a rundown of what happened on the race day, and then we can dive into it a little bit more. There was lots of
Perfect.
chatter. I didn't see if he shaved his legs race day, but lots of chatter about Marten Van Riel not having shaved legs going in. We all need that free speed, but um, yeah, so apparently there was a jet ski in the way at the swim start, and it was a little bit of chaos in the beginning. But of course, we saw Marten Van Riel right up at the front with Hans Butters in the lead with Jamie Riddle, Ben Fay, Ollie Turner, Marten Van Riel, Fraser Miniskin. And they were only covered by about 10 seconds in between. And then once they're on the bike, Marten Van Riel, he took it by the horns with Valdemar Solok. I really need to get better at these pronunciations. But they broke away and rode well under the previous bike course record with going sub 2 with 158.04 for Marten Van Riel and Solok right under that 158.18. So they started the run, and honestly, like Solok really held on. Like he didn't just bike hard and fade. Marten Van Riel and him were running and working hard early, but we all knew it was coming. Marten Van Riel, the class of athlete he is, he eventually pulled clear and went on to win with a new overall course record of 3:36, which 6 70.3 wins out of 6 races and getting that knee spot. How did he not have this knee spot? But this guy is just, when he shows at the start line, he takes it, right? Like, I'm so glad he has that knee spot, though. It's going to make the racing a lot more fun in knees.
By the way, did you see he was dropping like 239 Ks at the end of that run too? Like that was how he broke away. It was like sub 3 at that point of a day. Now, granted, like he's like at the point of his race, 3 hours and change in. Like most people are like just getting off the bike and he's finishing his race. So like, God bless that man. He can absolutely crush the 70.3, has not lost, and still pretty good field that he blew away. Now, Salak was right with him, which is really cool to see that guy go. But Jamie Riddle finally got around and
solid race, yeah.
got us to 70.3 knees, which was what he wanted. Apparently Christian Hogenhod declined his, so that's interesting. But he's a full distance guy, and not chasing the Pro Series really. Like, do you want to go to Nice and then really focus on Kona? No. If your
apparently,
focus is...
Pro Tri News was saying he has a friend's wedding to go to during Nice, so he's just skipping it and focusing on Kona. So bigger priorities at the moment in the personal life.
We've seen a few people turn down slots. Matthew Marquardt turned his down at Happy Valley too. So there's been some people get some slots that you didn't expect it to. But yeah, kudos to Marten and Jamie getting their slots. That makes the swim at Nice a little bit more interesting with the two of them. Yeah. Maybe they'll execute the plan this time.
Yeah, and they got Ben Fa got his spot as well. So he's also one of those killer swimmers that'll be making some waves at the front and making people suffer for it a little bit.
Yeah. It was the Sam Laidlow breakup last time that busted them up. Marten Van Riel kind of looked like Sam Laidlow at a point at this race too. I did see he was like pulling up in the swim, which is crazy. He was still right there up front, but there was a part of that swim where he completely pulled up and was like looking around, bobbing around, and then finally started to go again. But yeah, really interesting. Not sure what happened there.
Yeah. It's insane just to see the quality of these athletes, right? And it was really good to see like someone, not as well known, really pushing and making Marten Van Riel work for it a little bit. So we ended up with Marten in first, Valdemar Suluk in second, Simon Vane in third, Jamie Riddle in fourth, Christian Hogenhaug in fifth for that race. So definitely some great racing ahead. We got a few more of those 70.3 world champ spots, which is always good to see because I'm starting to get excited about Nice. It should be a great race to watch on the pro side of things.
Yeah, Nice is going to be packed. The other kudos I want to give, Rasmus Svenningsen, after a great race at Happy Valley, backed it up by going to Elsinore and had like the second or third fastest run of the day, which he finished 11th. But to do those two races back to back with that travel, kudos to him.
That's not easy by any means. Man, it's crazy how well these athletes are, backing it up with the back-to-back races, the travel all around the world. You got to think a lot of that is this, like, at least on the Norwegian side of things, just the higher carb intake. Athletes are able to put in these hard days and just recover so much faster, which is really cool to see.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Let's jump into the women's race here. So the women in this race pushed it, had a plan at the beginning. It seems like there might have been a text group going on from the start because they went out hard in the swim. So front group with like Fenella, Lotta Wilms, Lena Meisner, Marta Sanchez, Louisa Long-Pratt, Natalie Van Couverden pushed it when it came to the swim. And you got to think, they know Kat Matthews is behind them, so they want to open up any kind of gap they can to try to hold her off. So they got out of the water there, and we did have Kat Matthews down out of the water. But the front group really, they put in some solid effort there. We didn't see Kat move up quickly in the beginning, but eventually we saw by the end of the bike, Matthews had about 2:57 to make up and 7 women ahead of her. So we know how strong Kat is in the bike, but they definitely pushed that. The interesting part was Katrine Grespal Christensen She came out of the swim a little bit further back, had a 30-second T1 penalty for not putting her helmet on before taking her bike. She still rode a 2:09, the fastest bike split of the day, so that moved her overall into contention. And then Kat, she didn't have that fastest bike split, but she turned around and ran like hell. She ran a 1:16 and erased the gap to the first, or in the first 9K, moved into the lead and really controlled it from there. She ended up only 36 seconds ahead of Christensen, but she was just hunting her down from the start. Like the difference in the paces and what it looked like was shocking. And there's one point where you see Kat running alongside like a pro male, and this guy's just trying to hang on, and Kat drops him and is going. So it just shows the speed that she has there. So she ended up taking the win with Christensen in second and Lisa Meisner in third. It was good to see that she's put in some more points that keeps her in contention for the Pro Series, which is cool to see.
Yeah, she's clearly not giving up on the Pro Series. And I think this race was thrown in there, added. It's a couple weeks out from Roth. So, like, throwing in a big training day is what you would do this weekend anyway. So, why not go get some Pro Series points? So, easy travel for them, worked out well, and she got the job done. What Katrine Christensen did on the bike was absolutely insane. And then to hold on the run for as long as she did. I mean, she outbiked Kat by 5.5 minutes. Now, we also know that that made a huge difference in Kat's run as well, too. Kat outran her by 3 minutes. So she had more in the tank, and I think she probably needed, but she didn't have to go to it fully, completely, but she had to come from behind, which I don't think a lot of people expected coming off the bike, and she got the job done. Like Marten Van Riel, she had a crazy couple of splits, but this time to start the run because she knew she was down coming off the bike, and she threw down like a crazy first 5K and then kind of settled into some more regular human paces in her world. But yeah, good day for her. Hannah DeVette grabbed the second slot with Lena Meisner grabbing the first slot to Nice. And so that puts the first, and then the ninth slot went to Fenella. So the top 9 either had a slot or took a slot on the female side. So kudos to Fenella too. Like she's now gotten back and she's in the world championships on both sides now. So good for her. I don't think it's going to be long until we see her back up at the top of one of these races again. She's just kind of piecing it all together. The run's got a long way to go still, but she got around and got the job done.
Yeah, good to see her on the comeback trail here. She's just such a great personality and fun for the sport too. So good to see she has that. It was definitely like just a complete difference with the number of men's and women's slots. So many of the women already had their spots. The men's side, it was definitely a different story. For the men's, it only went down to 6th place.
Yeah.
But with that, let's take a look at the changes within the Ironman Pro Series here. So we have Selvig Lovseth, obviously still in first place with 12,000 points. She's done 2 Ironmans and 170.3. So she has a few more points that she can add to that. We got Lottie Wilms moved up 2 spots to second. Kat Matthews moved up 4 spots into third. And then we got Fenella in 4th, and Hannah Berry moved a little bit down into 5th place there. So changing. We still have some big differences in how many races each person has done. So we're going to see a lot of movement by the end, but Selvig is looking pretty good at the top of that women's series.
Yeah, that's for sure.
For the men's side, we saw less movement here. We had no changes in the top 5 with Christian Blumenfeld, Matt Hansen, Sam Long, Rudy Von Berg, and Ben Knut. It was a little farther down the way that we saw some big changes, like Rasmus Svenningsen moved up 9 points into 6th place, and then Marten Van Riel jumped up 9 spots into 8th place. Casper Storns got pushed down a little bit into 9th, and we got Jonas Schomburg pushed down to 10th here. So bit of moving around. It is fun to see kind of how it moves through the season, but there's definitely some big changes to come. Maybe less on the side or on the women's.
The big question mark is, I mean, Casper's going to answer one of those question marks this weekend, right? I think he's got a huge opportunity to jump up with a good performance and a finish at Frankfurt, as we expect him to do. But the other one is Trevor Foley. He's only got 2 races, and there he's sitting and just waiting. And he's got 2 perfect scores with Lake Placid.
Yeah, true.
The thing is Trevor going to get enough, and where's he going to get the points? Is he going to do Boise? What's going to be his other 70.3, or does he just do Lake Placid in both worlds and hope he has a good day? He's going to finish in the top 5 in the Pro Series rankings, and that's a big day for Trevor Foley with only having to race 5 races, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely has way more room to move up. Most others have done at
Yeah.
least 3 races here. So, and that's just it. You got to wonder kind of, we saw it in the first year. Oh shoot, I'm blanking on his name now, who won the first year of the Ironman Pro Series.
Or
Um,
ton.
but yeah, it was just like, it was just Greg Barnaby. There we go. Yeah, it was just that consistency, but we're kind of seeing that there. Like Trevor Foley, if he just goes for, I don't want to say less competitive, but there are definitely Pro Series races that are more competitive than others. If you're going to something like later season, as we get into this July, August timeframe, there's going to be less of the top names there. Could he just do a few more of those races and slot right in? Because at the top end, it's a lot more uncertain, the results when it comes to the World Championships.
I would say, especially on the 70.3 side of things, like
Mm-hmm.
that 70.3 world champs, he could finish 12th, 13th and be way down on the points, whereas he could go to a Boise and probably grab
Mm-hmm.
just as many points.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Interesting to see. Um, with that, yeah, we've definitely seen though the Pro Series is what most of the top name pros have gone towards this year, just because I think it's just that ease of getting in. You know where the races are so far in advance. You know how the points ranking lines up. They've seen a couple years of the series, so they know how they can play it and what their strengths or weaknesses are. Do they go to those top races early, get all the points because they are the top 1%, or are they chasing kind of these other races that have few less people in there to collect the points that way? It's yeah, kind of it has been fun to watch and at least have a little bit more of a storyline.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's what a lot of people are talking about, especially in this little gap too, with no T100
Mhm.
racing. All you've got is WTCS and Ironman Pro Series racing, and people grabbing slots, and now we know where 70.3 World is
Yes.
going to be in 2028 and in Chattanooga, and how everyone's going to have to claw their way upriver before turning downriver to finish that, most likely. And
Yeah, I'll be
kudos to
curious to
Kyle
see
and
how they do
Pride
as well.
News for nailing
Yeah,
that one with his Department of Transportation research.
there we go. Yeah, I'll be curious to see what they do for the swim course. You wouldn't assume they would go downstream with the fast swim, but that would change up the pro race so much. It'd almost be more fun, right? Like usually 70.3 worlds, you do have those fast swimmers off the front. We know who's going to be out. We know who's chasing. What if we have a North American race where it's a fast swim? They're all within a couple minutes of each other and battling it out on the bike and the run. Honestly, I think that'd be a lot of fun. I know there are a number of people who would absolutely hate that, but as a not swimmer, that would be fun to see some of those other names like a Sam Long, a Lionel Sanders, just kind of being, 1.5, 2 minutes down from the start instead of, yeah,
Everybody sub 20.
yeah.
It's going to be an interesting day, because that race is now slated for the end of August in Chattanooga,
Mhm.
Tennessee. It is going to be
Be
stifling hot,
so fun.
humid. I mean, they're going to be floating down the river on their friggin' swim skins and then dying on the bike in the heat, going through the Lookout Mountain on that climb, most likely. I mean, it's going to be an epic race no matter how they choose to line up the swim.
Mhm.
Um, I think you'll have, it's going to be interesting too, like to see in the age group side. And we've got a ton of people listen to this on the age group side too. Like, where do you start to target races to go to? Are you starting to line up where are you adding races at the end of the season? Are you adding races? Like, I've talked to a couple of my athletes and friends that are like, hey, when everyone else is in Nice, go race somewhere in North America and get your slot to 70.3 Chattanooga Worlds. And it's a good time to do it. If your goal is to make a world championship slot, you could have a good race and get a slot in September this year. But
Mhm.
It'll be interesting to see how many people come across. You want to go race in Europe, there's probably better ways to get in doing that too. So sounds like all the Europeans and foreigners are looking forward to coming to Chattanooga, Tennessee, whereas all the Americans like, really? Chattanooga?
Now, see, I think they're saying really Chattanooga, but it is going to be so much harder for North Americans to qualify this year, or like in this coming year, um, than it has been. Because we definitely see that whenever it's a North American championships, like those slots roll way less because it is a lot easier for like Americans and stuff to go over there. And there's, a little less appetite for travel, it seems like. So if you do want a slot, you're absolutely right, Josh. People have to get in early and get it done because it's come next year, those slots are not going to be rolling far. We're not going to see the, 300th place, or they're asking who wants the slot by the end of it in North America. In Europe, possibly, but it's going to be a whole different game. So come see me at Ironman Calgary 70.3 this year. They just sent out the email saying it's one of the first qualifiers in there. So I'm like, oh yeah.
I wonder how the races in July, August, September have done since they announced Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Yeah,
race that was sold out might be sold out now.
if it's not already, it's going to be soon. So
Yep.
whole different ball game. If you've been kind of experiencing getting those 70.3 slots on big roll downs in the past, North America, that definitely changes it. So get in, plan for it, plan a few races if you're not at the top end of that age group field, because it will be more competitive. Well, let's roll. Before we jump into more Ironman stuff, let's jump into WTCS Quiberon. I have no idea how to say that.
Well, I think you're right. Quiberon. Let's go with it.
We'll just roll with it.
Frank.
Yeah. So they did the sprint distance once again here. It's still funny to me how many of the Olympic qualifying races are sprint distance instead of Olympic distance for it. And then they had the mixed relay the next day as well. And the mixed relay, so the sprint was 750 swim, 22K bike, and a 5.1K run. The mixed relay was a 250-meter swim, 8K bike, and a 1.3 kilometer run. So short, fast, furious to the extreme.
Absolutely.
Men's race, we saw the swim with, no surprise, Max Stapley, Diego Moya, and Miguel Silva pushing at the front. And heading back to the beach, we had Vasco Balasa was only 13 seconds down, while Alex Lee was already 32 seconds back in 39th place. In the bike, the race split into groups quickly. A 15-man front pack formed with Balaka, Connex, Ricardo Batista, and a bunch of other names in there, but Yi was caught up behind in the third group. By T2, the lead group still had 26 seconds on the chasers, which was enough to make the front group the winning race move. On the run, Vlasa moved into the front early, but Connex and Batista stayed right with him. But Balaka kicked with 500 meters to go. Connex, this man is a sprinter. He seems to turn on this sprint. He wouldn't let him go. It came down to the final 180 turn on the blue carpet where Vlaka slipped just a little bit and Connex took advantage and took the win in front of the French crowd, and Batista rounded out the podium. We've seen Connex maybe not in full form the last little while, but when that man is in the hunt and has a chance to win, he can turn on that sprint. So it was fun to see that back, especially in front of a French crowd.
Yeah, that was pretty epic. I thought it was going to be Vasco for 2 in a row, and Dorian has, like you said, hasn't been in the picture. He's been battling back, and to see him up front was really, really neat, especially on home turf. And it literally came down to that: who made that 180 as tight and clean as possible. And Vasco slipped coming around and almost went in and over the barrier, but he was able to salvage it and finish second with his countrymen. The two of them, Batista and Vasco, are at the top of their game right now. They're on podiums every weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what do you think of Alex Yee? We haven't seen him quite in there. He still has that weakness, and he's still putting a lot of focus into the running side of things. He's so good, you can not see him not coming back, but he's got a bit more work to do to sharpen those triathlon skills again and just be able to be a little closer out of the swim, because he doesn't have a Hayden Wild in this race to help pull him up from the back of the swim pack, or that second pack, or this time the third pack. So it's interesting now that I think about it, just how many times we've seen that, right? Like we don't see him often make the gap between packs without a Hayden Wild. So if Hayden Wild's not in there, can he?
And now with another DNF, I mean, he didn't have a bad bike, but he
Hmm.
didn't finish the run again. And that's now 2 races in a row that's been the case after a pretty good showing in week 1 of his WTCS season. Looked like, okay, well, Alex isn't too far off, and he had that crazy run split, and now it's like, okay, well, he's not even finishing these races, and what is the niggle he's dealing with, and what is the reason he's pulling himself? Hayden Wild announced he couldn't race, so he was now out of contention for the season series to win. At this point, like, is that where Alex should go as well, and just kind of focus on getting himself back being a triathlete and jumping in these grand races and road races that he wants to do and Cass wants to do. But yeah, it's interesting to see. We're now 2 years out from when they're gonna have to line up in LA, and he's nowhere close to the front right now because the swimming is just a different level. And now these guys aren't just swimmers anymore. This is swim, bike, run all the way through with the Matty Hausers of the world and Vasco, and the front end of this race is now getting super fast. And then you got these guys dropping low 14s on the run. And okay, well,
Insane.
I mean, Alex isn't outrunning those people by that much. Now it's a
That's just
sprint.
it.
So
Yeah. No, you definitely have to be in the contention or be in contention off the bike now because there's not like Alex is an insane runner, but you're absolutely right. There's not a lot of wiggle room if they're running in the 14s, right?
yeah. And yeah, the Olympic distance definitely opens up for some more error and chances to come back on the run. But I mean, 1 through 8, you're talking 14, 15 seconds in that sprint distance, like
Hmm.
runs. I mean, that's insane that all these guys are running under 14:30s after that hard bike. But
Yeah.
those are the pack dynamics too. And if Alex and Hayden can't get their swim up to par with these guys, it's gonna be a lot harder for them to come back than they did 4 years ago, 2 years ago at this point.
Yeah. Look at Miguel Hidalgo with a 14:12. Like, it's just
Yeah.
insane, his run times. Let's take a look at the women's side. I don't think this result will shock anyone. But we had Cassandra Bogrand was right in the front of the swim. Like you mentioned, she's right up the front. We're seeing her leading some of those. Just ahead of Yolene Vermeulen and Manami Hayashi. Tilda Madsen was 23 seconds back with Gwen Jorgensen 37 seconds down. So there's definitely some work to do from there. On the bike, though, everything came back together with a 25-woman front packed after the first lap. And then the chase closed in. By lap 3, it was all together. By the time they hit T2, 46 women in the front group, setting it up for absolutely a run race. The run started with Bogrand, Vermeulen, and Jenna-Caer moving quickly, but Manson surged to the front and kind of started to blow it open from there. Really, it came down to a 2-1 battle between the last 2 WTCS series with Bogrand and Manson pulling clear. The final kilometer, though, Cassandra just kicked and pulled away from the race. When she's on, she is absolutely on, but it really showed that Manson is really pushing it and proving like she is someone to watch for. She's an absolute threat because she wasn't that far off the mark with Cassandra. That was, Matt, it's crazy seeing a big pack like that off the run and just going into it. And it's just a full out run battle.
It's nuts too. You look at this race and it shows you, especially at this distance and still in the Olympic distance as well, how important the transitions are. And Cass had the fastest T2, and that literally was the difference in the first and second place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a crazy time, like absolutely insane. And Cass is starting right at the front, and she's hanging on these bike packs. If we keep seeing them come together, like she's gonna be hard to beat unless they start forming some packs where they really push the bike to the absolute extreme and do some breakaways. How else do you beat her, right? Like you need to do some kind of breakaway to get some distance on her with the time she's running. 15:51 is crazy. But she got beat
And
out for the overall run time by Tilda with a 15:49.
yeah, I mean, her T2 literally won the race. Now, a 15:51, she still has more, and that's the scary part. But like when Cass is leading out the swim, comfortably leading out the swim. Like, I mean, she blew away a lot of these people. It's like, okay, now she can sit back, save some energy on the bike. And if she's not having to play catch up on the bike, you're just feeding into those run legs, and she can sit there and comfortably. I think it was Georgia Taylor Brown who said she's so used to pushing the bike and she wanted to see how it felt to actually sit in. And she actually had a pretty slow bike for her. And she's like, yeah, I was getting bored back there, just kind of soft pedaling. Yeah. And it kind of helped my run, but it didn't really help my run. So I guess I'm going to go back to pushing the bike again.
Please do, because it makes it much more fun to watch if we have some breakaways instead of a pack just rolling around.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that brings us to the mixed team relay, and basically the French domination continues here. This really was a weekend of French domination on French soil, so they were feeling good. The French team won by 24 seconds, and Italy finished second, just ahead of Spain, with Australia in fourth, Portugal fifth, and US in sixth, Great Britain in seventh. This was also the start of the LA mixed relay qualification cycle. So it's more than just a one-off result, but we're not seeing quite the full depth yet. Like, the French definitely had a very, very solid group. But again, we didn't see Cassandra in there. And the other teams, we're not seeing the big names kind of jumping in that yet. I think they're playing around with different potential athletes, seeing who's more suited to it, but it wasn't one of the auto qualifier races, so there wasn't as much on the line here. What do you think of where the, I guess, mixed relay is right now?
So from the American side, I thought it was interesting. Seth Ryder actually had the fastest leg of that, his entire leg. So he didn't have a great race in the individuals, but as a mixed team athlete, he's now done really well. And he was part of the team in Paris that took the medal.
Yeah.
Seems to suit him really well. Now, how they round out the rest of that team, we all know, does Taylor Knibb do mixed team triathlon? That's obviously going to play into their decisions there. Gwen has always targeted it. It has been part of her comeback. Is that something that they can stick with? It's so short, and that swim has to be so fast. Does she have enough to do that too? So I think on the U.S. side, it'll be certainly interesting to see how that plays out, and especially the auto spots that they get on the individual team. How do they play that? They've got an opportunity to compete in the mixed team relay. They have. They've proven that when it comes to the actual race in the Olympics, they've done well. But it doesn't look like it leading up to it. And that's where things like you said, you never know though, because not everyone's throwing out their best four from week one through qualification. And you don't actually, how many teams are actually going to throw out the four that are in the Olympics together in a mixed team relay on a weekend like this? So it's hard to tell. But what we do know is the French are way ahead of everyone. I think the Aussies are going to have something to say. I was surprised to see the Portuguese not have as good of a race, considering how good they've been in the individual, especially the men's side. It's definitely going to be a battle. We know GB, France, all the usuals are going to be up there when they put the four they want together on the day in LA.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch that racing when they're in top form and actually battling it out. There are some fun change-ups there. And it's always interesting to see who they put in, and they leave it to the last minute, so nobody knows how to place their athletes. If you don't know the mixed team relay, they have 2 men, 2 women, and they change up kind of who finishes, who starts over the races. But the thing is, you don't always know. They'll put forward the names, but they won't say the actual order of the athletes. So it's not a case of everyone knows who's racing. So you can say, okay, this swim bike runner is close to this one. So that's where we definitely see a lot of movement throughout it. And it's made for some epic racing, because sometimes they're fairly evenly paced and you'll see one team fall off the back and they're nowhere to be seen. But sometimes they just put a closer in there that can shake it up and come out of nowhere. So this racing is just fast and furious and such a blast to watch when you see some of the full force teams out there really battling it out.
Yeah, if you want some good viewing for a trainer ride, go watch the 2024 Paris mixed team relay. I mean, want to talk about an epic finish. It doesn't get closer than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, let's look forward to Ironman Frankfurt is coming up this weekend. This is going to be a men's only race happening on June 28th. And this is always one of the big ones. So we always see the battle every year. Who's going to get more athletes or the bigger name athletes between Challenge Roth and Ironman Frankfurt? And I think it's actually fairly balanced this year. We see some heavy hitters on both sides for the men's side. And obviously the women's is not at Ironman Frankfurt. So we're seeing some awesome names for Roth. Let's take a look here. We have 6 Kona spots for this race. And surprisingly, like some of the top rankings, we don't have a ton of auto qualifiers. We do have like Casper Storns, Vincent Louis, Gustav Eden, Brock Hole, Kieran Linders, Kemworth has qualifiers. Apparently he's not racing though. So he's got his spot. He's good. He doesn't need to be out there. But of course he has to be on every list everywhere all the time.
But Greg Barnaby is on the list and needs his slot.
Yes. Yeah. He still needs to get, we even have Joe Skipper's on the list. He needs his spot in there. So, and there's
Skipper
a lot of
new fin.
Oh my goodness. That thing looks ridiculous. If you haven't seen it, what is it? It's like a swim cap fin thing. It's supposed to make you faster.
Easy Gains is going crazy with their aero gains. Now we got hydro gains in your swim cap that you can wear and look like a velociraptor or whatever.
The second a pro wears that in a race, it's going to be banned and written into the rules that you can't wear them. Like 100%, right? Will we see Joe Skipper wearing that in this race? That would be, I mean, okay, triathletes are not the coolest looking athletes to start with. That would be next level, wearing a giant swim or fin in your swim cap. Oh God. Now I'm curious. I'm going to be watching Joe Skipper to see if he turns up with that.
And there's some names that are on this list too that all raced Elsinore as well. So be curious to see, like Kyle Smith, was that the reason for the DNF?
Jamie Riddle, we had raced
there. Was on this list. Another big one who did not get his slot, was on the way to getting one in Texas, was Antonio Benito Lopez. So there's another big name further down. Fringros Free still needs it. There's some huge names that need Kona slots on this list that have had good races at the full distance. And Peter Heimrich, there's some names on this list that are gonna definitely you're gonna see this drop to the top 10 most likely. That battle for that 10th spot could come down to who gets that KQ or not.
The interesting thing with this, looking at like some of these athletes in the swim times, we've got like 30-ish guys that can all go within like that 47 to 49 minute swim time. Like that could be an absolutely massive group out of the water, like some serious front end power there. And then, we've got maybe 10, 12 guys who are like incredible, like insane bikers too. So I think we're going to start this race with just a massive pack heading into the bike together. And now with that 20-meter draft rule, I think this is where it kind of gets more interesting when you do have that big, massive swim group out of the water, and then everyone separates out into that 20 meters. And then we're going to have people really, I think, pushing at the start of the race to try to get near the front, right? Because if you're 30 men back and you know that some of these riders are not going to hold on, if they're already 20 meters back, start to fall off, then you have to go around them, try to get in, and you're not getting as much of a draft at the 20 meters. Like, I think we're going to see a bit of a frenzy at the start to try to get to the front on the bike there.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting too to see how some of these guys with their KQ slots handle this race. Like, Casper's there for points. Gustav's there for points. Gustav, I feel like, is still like testing fitness, so it doesn't have to be a big day for him, and he's so well off anyways and good at what he does. He just needs to show up at Kona, and that's really what he's focused on. Where Casper's still trying to prove his name, and I think this is a big race for him. And then the big guy, Vincent Louis, looks like he's just ready to take a race down too. And so how did the dynamics between the guys who already have their slots at the front of the race, how much do they push themselves? And how does that factor into the bike leg for sure? And do the Norwegians stick together and come off the bike together, whether that's down a couple minutes or do they try and get to the front but there's some names in here that are going to try and hold them off for sure. Like you said, they're not going to be at the front of the swim, and they are going to be playing catch up, and who's with them. And I think that chase pack is going to be a huge factor in this. And do they work well together in that 20-meter world? And do they drop back to 30 to let somebody slot in instead of having to pass 10 people? And do you work that way and leapfrog? Because the slotting in the 20 meters actually gets a little easier if people are willing to work together.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll have someone like Magnus Dietleff. So we've got a few like super bikers in here. We got like actually Casper Stornes, Vincent Louis. He showed some serious bike power in Texas. That was usually I wouldn't put him up the front there, but he showed what he can do in Texas. You got the Gustav Edens. You got Magnus Dietleff will definitely be up there. Ken works out, so he won't. So you do have a few of those front guys that you would assume, well, they will be at the front out of the water, and then they can push the front of that bike pack together and just pull away from everyone. I think it's going to be a hard fast bike. I think that's where they're going to push it for sure. But Casper Stornes, I think you're absolutely right, though. He is looking just to keep proving that he's not the third Norwegian, right? Especially after the social media post where, who was it, Christian showed him going down in the rain on the train tracks. He's like, okay, yeah, may have gone down there, but I'm going to absolutely destroy this race after that.
It's crazy what kind of shape Magnus is going to be into, because he's been ill and dealt with sickness that doesn't relate to training or anything like that. So how is he? He hasn't raced since Marbella, and so he's definitely not fatigued in terms of this, but he also needs his Kona slot. And so how much does he push this bike? And knowing that he's going to have guys running that maybe he can't run with, but we don't know. I mean, we legit have not seen him in 7 months.
And the thing with Magnus, he's just going to go do his thing. He's not going to get caught up in the bike packs. He's not going to try to hang on to people. He's so like metronomic. This is my power. This is what I'm going to do. Whatever else happens around me, cool. I'm going to do what I know I can do. And it's worked for him a lot in the past. But yeah, you're right. We have no idea where he is. So it'll be interesting to see where he is. Hopefully he can get that Kona spot, because he's always fun to have on the start line, just because he has that bike power and he can absolutely affect the race. Let's look at some other people in here. So yeah, Gustav Iden, everyone just loves Gustav Iden. We want to see him back at the front there. And I think he seems to be getting better and better every race, and there he's getting closer. I just want to see him have a great day and show that he is in contention for Kona. Because when the three Norwegians are in peak shape heading into the World Championships, things get fun. They just battle between each other too.
Yeah. And Magnus isn't doing Roth this year too, so that's kind of like, this is his race. So that's scary if he's fit. I miss him. Like, there's been like Texas, he was supposed to line up, right? And that's where he got sick the first time. So it's been since April we've been waiting to see him line up, and this is the race that hopefully he is back to form. I like you just said, like, I think when Magnus is in a race, it changes the dynamics of everything too. And I think his swim has come around to the point where he's not in the chase pack per se. He's maybe at the back end of the lead pack or at the front of the chase pack. And that's scary when he gets on the bike. So yeah, this is going to be a really good race this weekend. Is it Saturday or Sunday?
The 28th, I believe. Let me just double check here.
Yeah, so that's Sunday.
Be a Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely be watching that one on replay. Not, I'm a triathlon fan, but watching it through the middle of the night is not the way for me.
And I have my race at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning too, so that makes it a little difficult. So yeah, Sunday 6 a.m. is when the coverage starts local in Frankfurt, Germany. So
just pulling up the weather here, and it looks like it's going to be a high of 36 degrees, which is smoking hot. Let's see, what is that for our American friends here? I'm not sure. Let's see.
That's got to be in the high 90s, right?
Yeah. So yeah, 98 degrees in there, but a chance of rain and thunder showers for the afternoon. So we could have it hot for the bike ride, but then the temperatures start dropping quickly after 1 o'clock. So They're going to be, yeah, sweating during the bike, and then it starts to fall down. Some rain and like easier conditions for the run will definitely make a big difference out there.
There's a crazy heat wave in all of Europe right now. I was like talking to my colleagues in London. They were like wishing they had air conditioning, but nobody has air
Ugh.
conditioning in London because it's like, what do you need it for 10 days a year? Well, those 10 days are happening right now in all of Europe. I was on a call with somebody in Spain today, same thing. So sorry to all you Europeans dealing with this, but wow, you want to talk about Kona prep?
Man, at least they're not doing it on Saturday. The high is 101 degrees and just sunshine the entire time. That
Yeah,
would
the
be.
cloud cover might be their only saving grace.
Oh, but even like race week, right? Like you're trying to, like in Kona, you always get a place with air conditioning because that heat can be so fatiguing. Like you mentioned in Europe, it's not near as common to have air conditioning in there. So hopefully they're staying cool enough that they're not getting any sleep because of the heat and the conditions just leading in, which adds another little fun factor.
We need to see somebody create some content on how they're getting through their sleeping environments this week.
That'd be good. Okay, Josh, who do you got for the podium here in Frankfurt?
Shit. Oh, Lord. I don't think we have to worry about Leon Chevalier, unfortunately. I think we're going to see Casper take the top, and then Magnus, Vincent Louis, Gustav.
Okay.
So I'm
Um,
sliding Magnus in there. I think he's going to be off the front on the bike, and Casper will do what Casper does and run a crazy marathon.
fair enough. I'm gonna go. I can't go past Casper for the win here. Like he's just fit. He's so good. He just keeps showing up time after time after time. Go Casper for the win. Um, I'm gonna go a. Let's see here. No, I'm going to say Gustav Iden just hangs on and finishes in second behind him. They're going to stick together on the bike. He's going to hold on to him on the run. And then we'll say Vincent Louis in third. He's in it for a breakthrough on that Ironman run, get in the podium there and just show them what they can do. Because he went from nowhere in the realm to right up there in Texas. So that'll be really good to see. So this race is shown as 65% of a typical Kona field. So kind of what we've been seeing, more top heavy in there and then a few names. But I think we're just going to see a big pack out of the swim, and then the bike is going to sort itself out and have few people spit out every few kilometers until we're down to those lead few.
Yeah, and this field would be even crazier if it wasn't for Roth being 2 weeks later.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Looking forward to watching Roth too, especially with that, like the strength of field they're getting in Roth. I think we could see, like, it would be so cool if the weather cooperates and stuff where we start looking at like records for it because they have some serious depth there.
Actually, Roth is only a week after this, right? Roth was 2 weeks after Elsinore. So yeah, Roth is the week after Frankfurt. So yeah, we've got some crazy full distance racing coming up in the next couple of weekends, and then looking forward to it.
Absolutely love it. Well, before we wrap up here, anything else going on in the triathlon world you wanted to bring up?
No, I think we covered most of it. We got the Chattanooga now covered. So good luck to everyone qualifying there. Good luck to anyone who wants their Nice slots. Sounds like if you just show up to a race in North America right now, you can get a slot to Nice. So if you really want to go to France in September, we'll see you there. But yeah, it's that time of year where it's going to certainly change the dynamics in July for 70.3
Mhm.
racing in slot downs.
Absolutely. Well, until next time, we'll be back next week to break down everything that happened in Frankfurt and look ahead to Challenge Roth. But till then, thanks for joining me, Josh.